Morning students, I am Bar Rasool. Our today's topic is excretion and osmoregulation. These two processes, as excretion and osmoregulation, are the two main processes which maintain the homeostasis in our body, which maintain the same steady state in our body with respect to the outside environment, with respect to the external environment. And what is excretion? Firstly, we will see what is excretion. Excretion is simply the removal of wastes, removal of the nitrogenous wastes from the body to outside the environment. While these nitrogenous wastes come, and what there is one of the important point, that is egestion. The difference between the egestion and the excretion is that the excretion means the formation. Excretion means the removal of those wastes which are produced during the metabolic activity of the body, but the egestion means the wastes which are present in the food, which are not produced inside the body, which are the products, which are the waste products of the food that we eat. One point in case of excretion is that only there is the removal of the wastes which are harmful for the body and which are produced by the metabolic activities of the body. Now, firstly, we will take excretion. Excretion means removal of nitrogenous wastes which are produced during metabolism or during metabolic activities of the body. Now, what is osmoregulation? Next term, that is osmoregulation. Osmoregulation simply means regulation of osmotic conditions inside the body. This osmoregulation here it mean I mean that is regulation of osmotic conditions inside the body. But what are the osmotic conditions? These in case of osmoregulation here is to maintain the water, regulation of the water, regulation of the minerals or solutes like sodium, potassium, and chlorine ions. In addition to these, in addition to water, minerals, and solutes, there is the regulation of the lymph, blood plasma, and tissue fluid. This is about the osmoregulation. Now, this osmoregulation, why it is essential? Why the regulation of the osmotic conditions in the body is essential? Because it is essential to maintain the maintain the hemostasis inside the body, in order to maintain the chlorine ions inside the body, in order to maintain the potassium concentration, sodium concentration inside the body, so that the cell will function normally, so that the cell will function normal, then approximately then after that the tissues will function normally, finally the organ system or organs will function normally. Thus this osmoregulation is one of the important point, as well as this excretion is one of the important point in case of maintaining the hemostasis of the body, because hemostasis means the conditions which are fulfilled inside the body with respect to the environment. Now, what is the significance of the osmoregulation and the excretion? Significance. Number one, removal of waste products or unwanted substances. Now, removal of the waste products or unwanted substances during the metabolic process, during the metabolic reactions which take place inside our body. There are so many reactions which take place. Let us consider. I will take one of the example here. Most of the reactions are, some reactions are reversible reactions and some reactions are irreversible reactions. Now I will take the example of the reversible reaction. In case of reversible reaction, let us take the example of the two reactants. Number one reactant I will call here is, that is A, and the another reactant is B. After the reaction here, this is the reversible reaction and the product is formed. Here are C and D. Now, in this case, firstly, when the concentration of the A and B is more, then the more products C and D are formed. After that, when the concentration of A and become less, then the concentration of A and become less accordingly, because the reaction moves forwards up to the point when the concentration of the reactants is approximately 50% and the concentration of the product is now 50%. Then at that time there is a equilibrium reaction. Then there occurs the equilibrium. That means the reaction neither moves towards the neither moves in forward direction nor it moves in the backward direction. Firstly, the A plus B forms the C plus D, and finally the product is C plus D are now in 50% and the reactants are 50%. Now, take in this case, if we consider this D is the waste product. If this D is not if this D is not eliminated from this reaction, if this D is not eliminated from this reaction, then the reaction will stop here. Okay. After that, if the D is removed, if the D is eliminated from the reaction, that is there. That means there is a continuous reaction. The reaction will move forward continuously, and the formation of C and D are always formed. That means we are always taken out. The D is always eliminated from the reaction, and the C is also produces. C is produced, but the concentration of C gets now increased. When the concentration of C gets increased, this C here I consider it is the one of the important product which is required for our body. Then the C that is towards the formation. Then the C performs its own function, and the D is eliminated point by point. That means continuous reaction occurs. Continuous the reaction between the A and B. The reactants A and B are continuously combined. They show continuous reaction, and the D is eliminated from the product side, and the C is one of the useful substances inside the body, and this is utilized for the metabolic processes. This is one of the point that is significant, that is removal of the waste products or unwanted substances from the body. But one of the product here is C, which is one of the important point, which is one of the important substances for the metabolic activity of the body. We are here discussing the significance of the excretion and osmoregulation. Now the next point is removal of the toxic substances. Number two, removal of toxic substances or toxic products. Let us, I will here consider the reaction again, that is A plus B. These are the reactants and they form the product is C plus D. Now I will here consider this D. This D as a harmful substance. This is a harmful substance, or this is a toxic substance which is produced during the metabolic activity, which is produced during the metabolism of any reaction. Okay. After that, if this D is not removed from this reaction, then the concentration, as I have already told before you, that means then the concentration will remain 50% products and 50% reactants. But the D is always removed. If D is present, now this D, in addition to this, that means D is removed from the reaction. Now I will here consider this A is a substrate and B is the enzyme. A is substrate and B is the enzyme. Now, this substrate is acted by the enzyme, by any enzyme during the metabolic process, and this A gets converted into the two products, that is C plus D. And consider the C is the important product is there. C is the useful product in metabolic process or in body, and D is the harmful product. At a time, let us consider this D sometimes. This product, that means this toxic substance, sometimes behaves as an inhibitor. When it behaves as an inhibitor, then at that time, what inhibits the reaction? That means this inhibitor, this D acts on the enzyme B. This acts on the reaction A plus B, and it does not allow the reaction to proceed, and it does not allow the reaction to proceed in a product forward direction. Therefore the reaction will be stopped if the D is not removed from the reaction, because it sometimes acts as inhibitor as well as it is a harmful substance inside the body. First, I have taken this as an inhibitor. Next, it is a toxic substance or harmful substance. When it is a toxic substance or harmful substance, when this is a harmful substance or toxic substance, when the toxic substance or harmful substance is accumulated in the body, when they get accumulated in the body, they create a disease, they create a harmful effects on our body. Now the third point is regulation of concentration of body fluids. As we know that the salts we take or the simply the salts are dissolved, they get dissociated into the ions in the aqueous form when they are present in the water. When they get dissolved in the water, they are dissociated into their ions. For example, consider here the sodium chloride that we take through the food that we take, that is sodium chloride. When it is dissolved in the water or when it is present in the aqueous form, now it gets it dissociates into the sodium positive and chlorine negative. These are the two ions of the sodium chloride that we take. And these sodium and chlorine ions, when they are present in the body fluids, the concentration of sodium, the concentration of chlorine is one of the important factor. These are the regulation of the sodium, the regulation of the chlorine is one of the important factor. Why these are important? Because if we take the example of the sodium, the regulation of sodium is essential in order to maintain the nervous system, in order to maintain the nerve impulse. Simply nerve impulse get generated by the action, there occurs the sodium is one of the important, this sodium takes the important part in the nerve impulse. It has the one of the important role in case of nerve impulse. That means if the concentration of sodium gets decreased, that means sodium, when the concentration of sodium gets decreased, the arrow which I show towards the downward side, that means decrease. And if I show this above, then it is means increase. When the concentration of sodium gets decreased inside the body fluids, then the nerve conduction is slow. That means this sodium has direct effect on the nerve impulse. The other important ions, the concentration of ions which are present in the body fluids must be regulated. Are some of the ions are here: potassium, magnesium, calcium, iron, hydrogen, etc. The concentration of these ions must be regulated. These are the here some these are the some ions which are the concentration of these ions must be regulated inside our the body fluids. And I have shown already one of the example, that is sodium chloride, and this concentration of sodium must be regulated in order to maintain the nerve impulse. Similar is the case with the potassium, magnesium, calcium, iron, hydrogen, etc. The concentration of these ions must be regulated in order to maintain the metabolic process inside our body. Some of the important properties which are associated with these ions are: number one, enzyme activity; protein synthesis; production of hormones and respiratory pigments. Membrane permeability, electrical activity, and muscle contraction. These are the few activities, these are the few metabolic processes which take place inside our body, which take place inside the animal. And these activities are regulated by the concentration of the ions, that means enzyme activity, protein synthesis, production of the hormones, and the respiratory pigments, membrane permeability, electrical activity, and the muscle contraction. These these metabolic processes are regulated by the ions which I have told you here. These are some ions which regulate the metabolic activities inside the body of an humans or inside the organism or inside animal. Another important significance of the excretion and osmoregulation is regulation of water content of the body fluids. This regulation of water, as we know that all the most of the reactions, most of the metabolic reactions that take place in our body, they are dependent upon the content of water. They are dependent upon the water. That is, most of the reactions take place inside the body in the presence of water. These reactions, as we know, are known as hydrolysis, and the content of the solutes which are present in our body, as we have already learned in the previous uh, point, that is the concentration of the sodium and potassium, also the magnesium and iron. It also depends upon the content of the water, because these solutes are dissolved in the water, because water is a universal solid, as we know. But in case of animals, in case of humans, this water is one of the essential solvent in which the nutrients are dissolved, and these nutrients are moved from one part to another part, and these are moved across the cell, these are moved across the membranes of the cell or tissues. Now, the content of the water is regulated, as we know that some organisms which are adapted according to the conditions in which they are if we consider an organism which is present in the desert area, and uh, this organism is adapted in such extreme hot conditions, water regulation in his body, or the regulation of the water in the body of an organism which is present in the extreme conditions, there occurs one of the process, that means the water is lost in a limited quantity, the water is excreted in minimum quantity, but the organisms which are lived, which are present in the conditions where the water is more in abundance, that means they lost extra water, they lost most of the water in their outside the body. So the content of the solute, so the content of the water, that is solutes are the nutrient solutes of the minerals which are present in our body, and the solvent is water. And the content of the solute as well as the content of the solvent, here we consider only the solvent. The content of the solvent is regulated inside our body, and this is simply known as osmoregulation. This osmoregulation, how the solvent content, how the water content in the body is regulated, we will describe in the next lecture. Here we only consider the regulation of water inside our body. Next point is regulation of pH. This pH is one of the also important factor in case of excretion and osmoregulation. This is one of the significance, and this pH is regulated by by hydrogen ion concentration and hydrogen bicarbonate concentration. These ions these ions regulate the pH of the body. These ions regulate the pH of the urine. These ions regulate the pH of the blood also. Simply, we here consider only the urine. That means the regulation of the urine, the regulation of the pH of the urine is regulated by the ions, that is hydrogen ion and hydrogen bicarbonate ion. And the pH of the urine varies from 4.5 to 8. This is the pH of the urine, which is variable in case of humans. That is the pH varies from 4.5 to 8. Now, finally, we here take another point, that is what are the excretory wastes? What are the excretory wastes? Now, we will here consider only the wastes. What are the types of wastes? What are the excretory products? And first one here is nitrogenous compounds, such as urea, ammonia, and uric acid. These three are the excretory products. These three are the nitrogenous compounds which are excreted from our body. And these three products, these three nitrogenous compounds are harmful when they are present in body in excess. And the another excretory product is oxygen during photosynthesis. This oxygen is a waste product in case of photosynthesis, and this oxygen is released as a waste product in case of photosynthesis, in case of plants. That means this oxygen is only waste product in case of plants. And another is carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide is also the waste product, but this waste product occurs during the cellular respiration. These are the three main types of the wastes which are present in the animals, which are present in the plants. But as we know that here we consider only the wastes which are nitrogenous compounds. These are the nitrogenous compounds. Here we consider only because the excretion is only with respect to that of nitrogenous compounds here. As we have learned about the carbon dioxide in case of respiration and oxygen in case of photosynthesis, now we are going to deal with the nitrogenous compounds which are present both in case of plants as well as in case of animals. Now, finally, this was about the excretion and osmoregulation in case of plants as well as in case of animals. And first, in next lecture, we will see about the excretion of the plants as well as in case of animals. Till then, Allah Hafiz.